Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto has limitless chakra in the Chunin exams part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. The preliminary round of the Chunin exams are underway, and the next opponents are already on the floor. Uzumaki Naruto vs. Inuzuka Kiba. HYA ha ha ha. It's like we've already won. So lucky, right Akamaru? Shut the hell up mutt. In the center of the stage, there stands two boys squaring off, getting ready to fight. The first is a scruffy feral-looking kid named Kiba Inuzuka. He is hailed from the famed Inuzuka clan, known for their fierce beast-like taijutsu style, that becomes even more vicious with the addition of their canine partnerships. The second is a shorter boy dressed in a bright orange jumpsuit, with even brighter blonde hair and distinct whisker marks. His name is Naruto Uzumaki. He is an orphan, and graduated dead last in the academy, but despite all this he still is a determined ninja, who never backs down, and isn't afraid of anything. Wait, what was that? Naruto always felt that he could push past anything in his life that was in his way as long as he stayed unwavering and true to his nindo. But today, Naruto had a feeling he was going to need more than that to be victorious. No one had to tell Naruto how bad off he was, he would admit himself that he sucked in a lot of ninja arts. His taijutsu was rough and chaotic, but no matter how much he practiced without a genuine teacher, something that some of the people at the academy weren't, to point out his flaws and correct his stances, he couldn't improve on that point much. His genjutsu was basically hopeless, because no matter how good his control became, his chakra was too large and dense to do anything worthwhile. His ninjutsu was non-existent other than the academy required ones and the Kage Bushin, and that's only barely true since he couldn't make a regular clone to save his life. His chakra control was terrible because of his stupidly large supply. Any exercise he did no to help with that weren't producing any noticeable results. Naruto would go to the library to learn more things, but the selection of things a genin can read is low, plus he wasn't the biggest fan of books. The only thing Naruto really had going for him was his physical condition, but without a speed-focused training regimen, all he really gains from working out is durability, stamina, and power, which he already had a high amount of. That, combined with any unorthodox plans he came up with, was really the only way he got ahead in any fight he got in. Today was different though. The usual fountain of endless energy felt more like a stream that was fizzling up, and his chakra control always felt out of control, but now it felt like it was unable to be handled at all. Naruto had a pretty good idea that it was that snake freak's seal that was messing up the little he did have going for him. Naruto was already tired from the forest of death as well, to the point where he didn't think he could even outlast Shikamaru in a fight. Naruto could forget about keeping up with Kiba, who always was right behind him in being the most energetic in the academy. Naruto knew he should have fixed his underwhelming skillets sooner, but he didn't have a lot of time to do anything before his sensei put his team in these dumbass exams. He thought he plenty of time to fix his problems after the disaster which was his last C rank, but not only was he wrong, he was dead wrong. Only a couple weeks after Wave and they are signed up for the Chunin exams. Naruto vowed to stop procrastinating and take his training more serious after this. Hopefully he wouldn't have to wait to get out of the hospital first. Up in the stands, Naruto, you better not lose to him, yelled Sakura. Let's see how much you improved, thought Kakashi. Naruto mused Kurenai. Sorry Kakashi, but he can't beat Kiba. That Naruto could never beat Kiba, said Ino. Hinata was conflicted about whether to cheer for her crush or her teammate. Most of the crowd felt that they already knew what the results were going to be, and they weren't going to be in favor for the blonde ninja. On the floor, hey, Akamaru, stay out of this. I won't need you to defeat this idiot, boasted Kiba. Don't get cocky, yelled Naruto. The decision by Kiba to not include Akamaru should have made Naruto's confidence sour, and if his only problem was his chakra and energy, it would have, but unfortunately it's not. Ever since the fight between his clones and the AIM team, Naruto has been feeling weird. His movements were strange, and his coordination different. It's like something unconsciously about his body was out of whack, but Naruto had no clue what it was. Naruto was sure of one thing though, it was something he could have done without during this fight. "I'll be nice, and end this in one punch," proclaimed the Inuzuka. TCH. Hayate Gecko, the proctor for the preliminary rounds, put one of his hands up. "You may begin." The match was on. "Don't get too comfy, Naruto, this will be over before you know it," Kiba said. Then he got in a crouch on all fours. Imitation beast ninja art. 4 legs technique. Before Naruto's eyes, Kiba's appearance began to grow feral than he already was before, something which seemed akin to Naruto's own changes when he was influenced by the Kyuubi's chakra. After Kiba's transformation was complete, he immediately launched towards Naruto in a speed he couldn't hope to follow. Before Naruto knew it, Kiba was in front of him, and in prime position to attack. "It's over," Kiba yelled, then he swung his clawed hands at Naruto's face. If you asked Naruto to explain what happened next, he wouldn't have been able to tell you. All he saw was Kiba directly in front of him, getting ready to strike, and the next thing he knew was he reacted and let his instincts take over, and now he was below Kiba, having ducked his swipe at him by a narrow margin. He dodged it, thought Kiba and the spectators collectively. Naruto, deciding that it would be best to just go with what feels right, went with the flow, and quickly uppercut Kiba in his jaw. Naruto then, taking advantage of the Kiba's helpless state in the air, jumped up and landed a spinning kick into his stomach, launching his opponent back to the other side of the floor. Needless to say, everyone was stunned, and none more than Naruto himself. Up in the stands, "How the hell did Naruto do that? It must be a trick," said Ino. "Please, just because your teammates are lacking, don't think that applies to all of us," Sakura shot back. Sure, Naruto was annoying to Sakura at times, but he was still her teammate, and they went through a lot together. She would gladly root for him over anybody that wasn't on her team. Hell yeah, Naruto, make him eat dirt. He has definitely improved way past what I would have expected, thought Kakashi. I shouldn't be surprised though, experience is the best teacher a ninja can have. What the hell? Did that lazy actually turn out to be a good teacher? Wondered Kurenai. Whatever, it hardly matters. Once Kiba and Akamaru get serious, Naruto is done for. The rest of the audience shared a look of shock or interest. It seems this match would play out differently than anyone had thought. On the floor, Naruto was just as amazed as everyone else. He never could move like that, and even if he could, he didn't think he would have been able pulled it off now. Also, Naruto felt that unlike the past few days, when he was just reacting instinctively, he felt normal, like nothing was like before. His mind was fighting with his body, and now that he was listening to it, everything was right in the world. Naruto didn't know why this was happening, but he did know that he didn't have any plans on how he was going to win before. So he would do what he did best, wing it. Lucky hit, it won't happen again, Kiba called out as he was getting up off the floor. He was noticeably wiping his mouth of blood, revealing just how hard he had been hit. Akamaru. Bark. Akamaru jumped at Naruto at the same time Kiba did, hoping to overwhelm any fluke sense of skill that Naruto just showed. They first started with a flurry of quick pounces, then started to come at Naruto with a barrage of hit-and-run attacks. But Naruto, to the surprise of absolutely everyone, avoided all solid connects. Kiba let up from his onslaught and backed away. I'll admit it to you, Naruto, you sure got better, but this is it. It ends now, Kiba said, pulling 2 red pills from his pocket. He gave one pill to Akamaru and he ate the second one. Akamaru turned an inflamed shade of red, then jumped on Kiba's back. Beast Effect Ninjutsu. Beast Human Bushin. Now, where previously only one Kiba and his dog was, there was 2 Kibas. One on the other's back. Getsuga. Both Kibas suddenly launched themselves at Naruto, twirling at impossible speeds. To Naruto it seemed like it was 2 miniature whirlwinds hurtling towards him. Naruto wasn't deterred though, he didn't know how far his new instinctive skills could take him, but he would keep pushing. Just before the attacks hit him, Naruto pushed himself into the air, narrowly avoiding their claws. The Fang duo didn't stop though, seeing a prime opportunity to attack while Naruto was stuck in the air. Naruto, seeing Kiba and Akamaru turning around to hit him again, flipped and twisted his body in the air at an angle allowing him to maneuver between them without getting hit. Kiba and Akamaru landed back on the other side of the arena. Whatever, so you can do fancy moves, it doesn't matter. You can't keep this up forever, taunted Kiba. Privately, though he wouldn't admit it, he was a little put off by just how capable Naruto was turning out to be. Naruto knew he was right, he didn't perfectly avoid the last attack, his jumpsuit was ripped and some of his skin scratched. Also, since he was running on fumes, the injuries would only get worse. Naruto needed to come up with a plan, which made him thankful that he had a few things he used for pranks in his pouch. I didn't think I would have to use these, but I guess if the shoe fits. Naruto said, pulling out a stink bomb. And since you have such a sensitive nose, I guess the shoe is pretty snug right about now. Naruto reared his arm back, with the key to his victory in the palm of his hand. Eat this, Kiba, shouted Naruto. Then he threw the bomb across the arena. And way over Kiba, with it only stopping its flight when it burst on the floor by the wall behind him. The entire room silently stared at the rising cloud of gas in the corner. Oops, idiot, was the single thought shared by everyone. Ah ha 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 ha. Kiba started laughing, with tears in his eyes. Ha, of course only you could fuck up that bad, Naruto. Up in the stands, to mess up an advantage that bad. Kurenai said to herself. I guess Kakashi couldn't make the idiot any smarter. Naruto, why are you like this? Moaned Sakura with her face covered by her hands. I guess a loser will always be a loser, said Ino. She turned towards Shikamaru, only to see him lying down getting ready for a nap. Aren't you going to watch the rest of the match? No point, it's obvious how this is going to turn out. I guess it does seem like Kiba has this one in the bag. No, it's actually the opposite. What would make you say that? Sigh. Shikamaru turned away from her. It's too troublesome to explain. On the floor, Kiba finally calmed down from his laughing fit and got back in crouching position to attack again. Oh man, it's so over for you. You just blew your only chance to win, chuckled Kiba. I'm not done yet, I still have a few more, retorted Naruto. It doesn't matter how many you have, you won't be able to touch me with them, and with that Kiba and Akamaru resumed their attack. Getsuga. What followed was the most extreme game of dodgeball ever played. Naruto dodging the canine duo, and Kiba and Akamaru dodging the stink bombs, allowing them all to hit the ground well away from where they were. The stink bombs all landed on the outer parts of the arena, leaving Kiba with plenty of room to work with. Naruto eventually ran out of bombs, only having about a dozen of them, bringing their little game to an end. He jumped back a little to give himself some breathing room. He was visibly taking harder and longer breaths. If I can't affect your smell, then I will try your sight, said Naruto. He then pulled out his only smoke bomb and threw it on the ground, covering the entire middle of the floor with smoke. Up in the stands, this was the guy that I was afraid would beat Kiba, what a joke, thought Kurenai. Don't tell me he forgot about Kiba's strong sense of smell. He was just trying to capitalize on it a second ago. On the floor. Idiot, did you forget my senses are better than the average nin? There is no way you can hide from me in this smoke. I will just sniff you out, said Kiba. He then started sniffing the air to pinpoint Naruto's location. Too easy. Getsuga. Kiba launched in the smoke with Akamaru in the direction of Naruto, and got a direct hit. After scoring a couple more blows, they tossed him up in the air, then drilled his body back into the earth, leaving a slight indent into it. As the smoke started to clear up, all that anyone could see was Naruto seemingly unconscious at the bottom of a small crater. "Proctor, call the match. He won't be getting up anytime soon," said Kiba. Hayate examined Naruto's body for a few seconds, then he put his hands up. "Winner by knockout. Over here, mutt boy," cried Naruto, appearing out of nowhere, but before Kiba could turn and look at him, Naruto slid underneath him and kicked his feet off the ground, just as the body in the crater puffed into smoke. Then another Naruto appeared, and kicked Kiba away while he was in mid-fall. Then two more appeared where Kiba was thrown, and kicked hip upwards. Finally a final Naruto came and jumped above Kiba, and delivered a spinning axe kick to his head, sending Kiba shooting towards the ground. Uzumaki Renden. Kiba was now the one that was at the bottom of his own crater, but this time the victim was actually unconscious. "Bad doggy," taunted Naruto, standing over Kiba's immobile body. Up in the stands, "I can't believe it," voiced Kurenai. "Kakashi's brat actually won. You will learn quickly that Naruto is never one to go down easy," Kakashi thought. Even through the mask there was obvious pride on his face. "Yeah, Naruto, I knew you could do it," yelled Sakura Dawn to the floor. "Wait, hold up. I don't get it. Kiba should have been able to smell out Naruto, right? The smoke shouldn't have blocked his nose. If it could, then he would have known earlier," questioned Ino. "Sigh. That was what I was trying to say earlier. Naruto didn't miss his throw with his stink bombs, not the first or any of the ones after. What he was doing was creating zones on the floor where Kiba wouldn't be able to smell anything but the odor from his bombs, so when he covered the arena in smoke he was able to place several clones in those areas without Kiba ever knowing. Naruto must have done a kawarimi with a clone after Kiba hit him with his attack. Once switched he would be able to carry out his own retaliation without Kiba being prepared for it. Who knew Naruto could have done something that smart, but I guess if you look at the pranks he used to do, it isn't that surprising." Ino gave Shikamaru a surprised look, before changing to one of contemplation. "I guess even Naruto improved after the academy." Quote. "On the floor. Winner by knockout, Uzumaki Naruto," announced Hayate. Naruto was feeling very proud of himself at the moment. While he was tired from Kiba's assault and the use of his clones, something that would have never happened if his chakra was normal, Naruto felt that he did better than he himself would have expected. He never fought that well in his entire life, but now in what seemed like hours, his skill increased by an immense amount, and Naruto still had no idea how it happened. Well, he did have a theory, but he needed some time to test it when he was alone. As of right now, he was content to revel in his unlikely victory. "Look how much you've grown, Naruto," thought a proud Hokage. Yawn. Naruto sat up in his bed after a long, pleasurable, deserving rest the day after the preliminary exams ended. He got up and started his morning routine so he could head out to a training ground. He had to get started preparing for the third stage ASAP. He took a shower, brushed his teeth, washed his face, and ate some ramen. He then changed into loose white shorts, a black t-shirt with a spiral, and black ninja sandals. Then he gathered up all his tools and jumped out of the window. Doors are for squares. Naruto decided to stick true with his promise and got started on training even before he approached Kakashi-sensei to ask about him training him. Naruto was going to train himself into the dirt, as well as the training he would receive from his teacher, just so he doesn't waste any time that could be spent otherwise honing his admittedly lackluster skills. Another reason Naruto decided to go to the training ground first was so that he could test out his theory on how he improved so quickly in the second stage of the exams. Naruto knew he would have a long road in front of him, especially since he would have to face Neji Hyuga in his first match. That was a fight he wasn't planning on losing, especially after what the bastard did to Hinata, his own cousin. Naruto would be the first to tell you he was lucky in the prelims. With the exception of Ino, Sakura, and that random guy Sasuke faced, if he had to fight anyone else, Naruto was pretty sure he would have lost, even with his newfound skills. Luckily he got Kiba, a taijutsu user / the only skill Naruto was proficient in. Fortunately he now has an entire month to train before his match with the Rookie of the Year. Naruto finally arrived at his destination, Training Ground 9. A place not too many people really came to because of how close it was to the Forest of Death. In fact, you could actually see Training Ground 44 looming in the background. Naruto knew about this place from his younger days, when he used to find places to hide from the stares of the villagers, and later on because of his pranks, the Anbu. It was a wide, grassy clearing that had a stream running through it. The grounds are also surrounded by trees you would commonly find around Konoha. Naruto walked up to the stream, and thought that it would be the perfect place to start his training, but first. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Poof. His theory. Out of the smoke appeared one perfect clone of Naruto. Okay, I want you to go down the stream and see where it ends up. Naruto commanded his clone. Geez, there was no need to tell me, idiot, responded the clone, and with that it ran off. God damn it, why am I so annoying as a clone? After a couple minutes of standing there, Naruto suddenly jumped up. Stupid clone, how the hell did you not an entire waterfall before you fell off the cliff? You should have at least heard it. Yelled Naruto. It was only after a few seconds of fuming did he realize what had just happened. Yes. It worked, and even better than Naruto thought it would. He, at first, just assumed that he would just get a vague feeling or some kind of intuition, but nope, he actually gets the entire experience. Naruto was salivating just thinking of all the ways he could train using this, but had to stop when he remembered he had another problem. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Poof. Shit. Big problem. He could only make 100 clones before he became swamped. For comparison, when he first learned the jutsu, he could easily make 1,000 clones without being close to tired. Sadly, there was nothing he could do about his dilemma at the moment, so there was no sense of crying about it now. He could just get started, then go and ask his sensei later if he knew how to remove this dumb seal. At the moment though, he only had to figure out what he could work on right there. Naruto didn't think he could work on his control until he had the seal removed, so that was out. He didn't even know where to start when it came to jutsus, so that's out as well. It seems he would just have to improve on what he knows, and hopefully try to incorporate other things later. Okay, I want 60 clones to break off and go over there. Once there, I want 40 of you to pair off and fight with each other, then I want the rest of the 20 clones to pick a fight to watch. That should give us different perspectives on the way we fight. I want the last 40 clones I didn't mention to work on their shuriken and kunai proficiency. Alright, after the clones left to do whatever they were doing, Naruto decided to work on his physical body by running, and doing some exercises. Nothing too hard though, he didn't know what awesome plans his sensei had for him. After the hour was up, Naruto figured he did enough for the day and left his clones to do whatever they were doing, while he searched for Kakashi-sensei. On his way back to the village, he realized that he probably would be too busy training to do anything else in the next month. So Naruto decided to get some things he was planning to get done out of the way first. Naruto's first stop was the village's local flower shop. Welcome to Yamano, it's just you. Also known as Yamanaka Flowers, where Ino is known to work at from time to time. And what's that supposed to mean? Naruto deadpanned. Oh, nothing, waved off Ino. I think you made a wrong turn, Naruto. Ichiraku's is a couple streets over. I actually meant to come here, said Naruto. Though if had known you were here I probably would have came later. Well, if I had known you were coming around, then I probably wouldn't have been. Ino responded lightly. What are you here for anyway, Naruto? I didn't take you for a guy who likes flowers. I also doubt you can even take care of any. I have several plants at home that I take care of. Plus they're all healthy. Really? I'm surprised. Even if I'm sure you dug them all up from the ground somewhere. What difference does that make? Naruto responded, pointing his finger at Ino. The difference, you idiot, is that flowers need a lot more attention than whatever you're giving your dirt and weeds at home, she chided Naruto. I don't want to sell you something that's just going to die in the morning because you don't know how to take care of it. Dirt and weeds, growled Naruto in his head. If he had time, he probably would have responded to Ino's statement in a way that would have guaranteed that he would get kicked out of the store. Instead, he calmed down and responded to her nicely, they actually aren't for me, I'm visiting Hinata and we're going to give it to her. Hinata, oh how cute. Ino fake gushed. It only took her getting put in the hospital for you to get the message. She then put on a questioning look. Huh, maybe it would have been good if Sasuke was there for my. Am I supposed to be following along with what you're talking out? Naruto said, cutting Ino off. Because you lost me at message. Did Hinata send me some mail or something? Nothing, forget it. I guess it was too much to expect that everything about you improved since we were in the academy. Ino said, seeing Naruto's confusion. Speaking of, good job on finally shutting that mutt's mouth. He was always a little bit more annoying than you, not by that much, but still. Thanks, I really appreciate it. Naruto droned. Can I have my flowers now? Of course, silly me, Ino said with a very convincing smile. What were you looking for? I'm not really sure. Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head. I only heard that you're supposed to bring flowers, I never actually visited anyone in the hospital before. No problems, it was my fault for thinking you would know anyway. I have the perfect kind of flowers for you to get. How does this place get any customers while you're here? Obviously amazing looks and sparkling personality. Ino answered while striking a pose with her hands on her hips. Naruto just stared at her unblinkingly. You know, for a person who works at a flower shop, you have remarkably not worked to get me any flowers since I've been here. Whatever. Ino then went to a shelf and grabbed a pot of purple flowers. These are lavender roses, I'm sure Hinata would love these. Finally, Naruto breathed out. How much? Oh no, these are free of charge. Ino said, maybe I would make you pay if they were for you, but I'm fine with letting you have these if it's for someone I like. Naruto respectfully ignored the last part for the fact that he was getting the flowers for free. He went up to the checkout stand to get the flowers. He also received a customary piece of paper that tells you how to care for them. Before he left, Ino went over to a group of blue flowers and plucked one without its stem. Then she came back over to where Naruto was. Here's another one that's on the house. Ino then stuck the blue flower on the top of Naruto's head. Ah, it complements you so well. I think you should keep this look. It makes you look less wild and more, not you. Naruto's patience was wearing thin, and he decided to leave before the small amount he had ran out. As Naruto was walking out the door, a thought came to him that made him smile. He stopped and turned back around to Ino. You know what, you're right, I think I should keep this. Naruto said, confusing Ino. I'm Sasuke and Sakura will ask about it, and I will be so happy to tell them that you thought it would make me look good. Naruto then ran out the shop while Ino's face was in the middle of changing from confusion to anger. Once he got to the hospital, Naruto quickly went to find Hinata's room. He had to sneak behind the desk because he doubted they would just tell a random person, nevertheless Naruto himself. Knock knock, come in, said a soft voice. Opening up the door, Naruto saw a paler than normal Hinata laying in the bed. She did gain some color though, when she saw who walked in. Naruto-kun, what are you doing here? Hinata squeaked out. I came to see you. Why else would I be here? Questioned Naruto. To see me, repeated Hinata with wide eyes, drawing the covers up to her face, which, in Naruto's personal opinion, made her look like a small adorable mouse. Yeah, said a momentarily distracted Naruto. Anyway, I just remembered, I brought you these, said Naruto, showing her the flowers he bought from earlier. Lavender roses. Hinata spoke, recognizing the flowers. Unknowingly to Naruto, she developed a faint flush when she saw them. Yup, said an oblivious as usual Naruto. I didn't think you knew flowers like that, Hinata. Well, it's a hobby. Hinata was flustered since she also knew about the meanings certain flowers had, and the ones Naruto brought had associations which made her woozy. She was pretty confident though that Naruto had no clue about what they meant. Why did you get these flowers anyway? Hey, well, I didn't really pick these, Ino did. She said you would love them. Naruto looked at the flowers, then back up at Hinata. I can kind of see how they fit. Purple kinda matches you. Ino, of course, Hinata thought in her mind. She wasn't surprised the Yamanaka would do something like this. She still liked the flowers though, and appreciated who they came from even more. Thanks, I love them, she told Naruto with a soft smile. Don't sweat it, Naruto said grinning. Oh, and don't worry, I'll make sure I beat that bastard Neji into the ground for you. Naruto. Hinata was conflicted. She didn't want to see either Naruto or Neji hurt. Even despite how her cousin treats her, she knew about what he went through and the pain he feels. Unfortunately, she didn't think she could say anything to neither boys to get them to go easier on the other. She smiled at Naruto. Good luck. Thanks, Naruto said with a wide self-assured smile. Then he pointed his thumb at himself and gave a more fierce grin. But I don't need any luck. If she had to choose though, then Hinata hoped Naruto won. A pumped-up Naruto was walking through the hallways of the hospital, when he saw the exact person he was going to look for in the main lobby. How lucky. Kakashi-sensei. I have a favor to save it, Naruto. I already know what you are going to ask and the answer is no. Interrupted Kakashi. How unlucky. Why not? Because I already planned to train Sasuke. Explained Kakashi. But don't worry, I found you a teacher, he said, pointing to the other side of the room. Naruto turned around in the direction he was pointing and saw Closet Perv, looking at him with the same disgust in his eyes as always. Naruto-san, I have accepted to be your teacher for the month, and I will beat out all that foolishness out of you, that you call skill. Ebisu said with a touch of unkindness. Come on, Kakashi-sensei, can't you find anyone else to teach me other than this pervert? Besides, I beat him once already, complained Naruto. Pervert, Kakashi said in a question tone. But before Naruto could answer, Ebisu clamped his hands over Naruto's mouth and started pulling him away. Nothing. He is delusional. You will have your student back, properly taught, by the end of the month. And with that he pulled Naruto away. Why did you bring me to the hot springs? What can we learn in here? Asked Naruto. The basics. It is clear you need a clear review on everything that you were already supposed to know, said Ebisu. Yeah, whatever, mumbled Naruto. Naruto had a bad feeling that he would be getting most of his training done on his own time. Now first, take off your clothes. What? I knew you were a creep, but not in this type of way, accused Naruto, pointing his finger at his sensei. No, not like that. In the exercise that you are about to do, you will be around water, and unless you want your clothes to get wet, you should take them off, said Ebisu, trying to justify himself. Fine, I'll do it, but I'm watching you. Naruto then took everything off except for his underwear. Now what? Now, you watch me, Ebisu instructed, walking towards then on top of the water. This is a more advanced version of the tree walking chakra control exercise, an essential tool needed for many missions outside the village. Naruto didn't disagree. The ability to walk on water would have been useful during the mission to the land of waves. He was a little hesitant to try it though. The seal Orochimaru put on him was still making his chakra weird, but maybe he might be able to at least pull this off. Later. Splash. Naruto jumped out of the scorching hot water, for what seemed like the 100th time today. Ah, shit, cursed Naruto, landing back on solid ground. Listen to me, you four-eyed creep. I am trying to tell you I can't do this exercise with the way I am right now. Exactly. That is why I am making you do this repeatedly. The way you are right now is pitiful. I will be sure to correct that. At least let me do it over regular water. Why the hell do I have to do it here? Inspiration, said Ebisu simply. Grr, growled out Naruto, ready to kill the black-clad man. Giggle. Both teacher and student stopped at the sudden noise. Giggle giggle. They turned toward the source of the perverse sounds, and found a tall man with long spiky white hair, and red lines running down his face peeking on the woman's section of the bathhouse. He was dressed in a dark green kimono with matching pants, a red haori, and wooden sandals. The man also had a horned forehead protector with the kanji oil on it. Ebisu bristled that anyone would have the audacity to do something like that in his village and marched up to the man. Excuse me, sir, Ebisu said, grabbing his shoulder. What do I? Out of nowhere a frog came and wrapped its tongue around Ebisu and slammed him into the ground, knocking him out cold. Naruto looked upon the scene with his mouth open for a few moments before he recovered. Hey, you damn pervert, called Naruto, from a safe distance of course. Hey, what do you want, idiot? The mysterious man finally answered. You just knocked out my sensei, and I was supposed to be getting training from him. What are you going to do about this? Huh. Exactly what I am doing now, kid. Naruto started to growl. Today just wasn't his day. Can you at least point me in the direction of someone who knows about seals? Questioned Naruto. I asked this useless piece of lump and he told me the only one who he knows isn't in the village. A lot of help that was. He grumbled. It just so happens that I might know a thing or two about them myself. Why? The man asks. Because some damn freaky pedophile put some seal on me that's messing up my chakra. It seems this was enough to get the man to stop peeking and catch his interest. Let me see it, he said. It didn't sound much like a request. Naruto warily lifted up his shirt to show him where it was. The white-haired man stared at it for a moment before holding out his hands, and making his fingertips glow. 5-prong seal release, he said, thrusting his hand into Naruto's stomach. Ah! Cried out Naruto. He fell on all fours while trying to catch his breath. What the hell was that for? You'll see. Try to do that exercise you were attempting earlier. Grumbling, Naruto reluctantly complied, and went to the springs. Gathering chakra to his feet, he hesitantly stepped onto the water. That's when Naruto noticed he no longer felt the restriction he felt on his chakra before. He took another step, then another, and another, until he was full out running and jumping on the water. Yes. Hell yeah, I'm back to normal. Celebrated Naruto, while hopping all over the place. He actually did it. He could actually take off that snake guy's fuinjutsu. Who the hell is this guy? The older man examined Naruto for a couple seconds before he spoke again. I've been thinking, since I accidentally knocked out your sensei, how about I teach you for the rest of the month? Accidentally, Naruto said to himself. Naruto thought to himself that this might be a good change in events because not only did this guy reverse a Sannin's seal, but he also has a summoning contract, which is usually only held by prominent shinobi. Okay, I accept your training, but first you have to tell me who you are. No way am I accepting to do anything with some unknown pervert. Ha ha ha, who am I, you ask? The man suddenly jumped on top of the previously forgotten toad, and started to do a kabuki dance. I am the sage of Mount Myoboku. The prophet of toads. Sensei of the legendary Yellow Flash. Super pimp of fire. And most importantly, the writer of the Ika Ika series, Jiraya of the Sannin. Kuchio's no jutsu. Poof. Yo, I'm Gamakichi. You got any snacks? Said a small orange frog. Finally, Naruto groaned. For the past 3 days Jiraiya had been teaching Naruto the summoning jutsu. Naruto had been having some difficulty with it. His chakra control, or more aptly his lack of it, didn't leave him with the ability to concentrate and direct his chakra that much. The feat would have taken much longer than 3 days, if Naruto didn't have his clones training as well. Flashback. The moment Naruto left the pervert the first day, he rushed to Training Ground 9 to make more clones. Once he got there, he dispelled all the previously working clones, which caused a brief moment of confusion with all the images flashing through his head. Naruto shook his head, and made a cross shape with his fingers. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Poof. Hell yeah. Naruto managed to make 2,000 clones this time, and he still had chakra to spare. Naruto didn't want to get close to his maximum amount, because he still had to operate during the day, and he might need his chakra for something. Naruto examined his copies for a moment, pondering what to do with them. Okay. I want the same groups as last time but 10 times the amount. For the 1,000 left over, I want you to work on chakra control by grabbing leaves and sitting on water or tree branches and doing the leaf concentration exercise. Oh, and those on the branches, I want you to be sitting on the bottom of it. Alright, let's go. The crowd of blondes just mumbled their agreements and left, some not saying anything at all. Bastards, at least show some enthusiasm, Naruto said, with a tick mark. Naruto then started to work on his physical body, doing a more extreme version of what he did that morning. After a few hours, Naruto stopped, finally reaching his limit. If I keep this up I should be able to refine my strength and skills, but I won't be able to do anything new, mused Naruto. Suddenly getting an idea where to start, Naruto raced off towards the village. It was a slow day for Ishii Higurashi at his weapons shop, and he was occupying his time by sharpening a few of the blades he had. He was about to move on to a dulled kunai, when he heard the bell that was connected to the door chime. He swiftly cleaned up his area, and made his way to the front. Hello. Welcome to Higurashi's Tools, how can I help you? He said, looking down at short blonde-haired kid about his daughter's age. Naruto didn't know what to think when he saw the huge man coming towards him, lumbering out the back, but he just hoped he didn't dislike him like in some of the other stores. Naruto never attempted to try to come inside this shop before, because usually when owners kick him out, they do it by throwing whatever is near them at him. That didn't sound like the best situation to end up in at a store full of deadly ninja weapons. Naruto only risked it today because he was just a shadow clone, and the original was nowhere near there. Thankfully, the man who came and greeted him showed no ill will on his face, causing the clone to breathe a big sigh of relief. Hello, sir. I was actually looking to restock all my supplies, and asked to see if you carried any small weights that could be put on your ankles and arms. Naruto responded. Well, first let's get your first order, then we can deal with whatever you are asking for later, said Ishii. Ishii then proceeded with getting everything Naruto asked for to replace his regular tools, shuriken, kunai, sealing scrolls, ninja wire, etc. After everything was packed up, and ready to be rung up, did they decide to continue their conversation. Before that though, clone Naruto wanted to ask about something he saw. Excuse me sir, what are those blank pieces of paper that you have in the display case there? Asked the clone. Those? Oh, they're just chakra papers, and although they look normal, they cost a lot more than you would expect. And Naruto had to agree with him, it was too much for him to just get on a whim, he had to ask the boss about it before anything else. Okay, thanks. I wanted to ask earlier if you had any weights that could be put on a band or something. Questioned the clone. Yeah sure, we have plenty of those, and they already come with bands of different colors. Tell me what weight you're looking for, and I'll bring them, said Ishii. I think I'll start with 2 50-pound weights in black bands, and 2 100-pound weight bands, that are also in black, ordered Naruto. Sure thing kid. Ishii went around the shop and started gathering the weights needed. Once he had them, he brought them to the front to be paid for. Anything else? Nah, almost declined Naruto, before he suddenly got a dazed look in his eyes. Naruto was in that state for only a second, before he snapped back to reality. Actually, I would like to see the chakra papers. A little earlier, way across town, the original Naruto was running towards the library. The library was split into 3 parts, and each one had different requirements to get into. The first part was the civilian section, and it was open to all citizens of the Leaf. The second part was the normal shinobi section, you had to be at least a genin to have access to it. The final part was the more restricted shinobi section, and you had to be Chunin and above to read anything in it. Naruto knew most of what he would be looking for would be in the last section, but that wasn't a problem for him. The whole library is watched by 3 Chunin, who sit at a desk in the middle of the front area. For Naruto, who has painted the Hokage monument in broad daylight, and sneaked into the Hokage's office, this was basically nothing. Naruto was scanning all the shelves for anything of interest, and whatever caught his eyes he threw on a table. He already amassed some books on elemental affinity, DA-ranked jutsus, chakra control exercises, and basic sealing. He had an interest in sealing because of obvious impact they have had on his life. Once he had all the books he wanted, he took a bunch of empty scrolls out his pocket and started the next step. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Poof, Naruto made 1 clone for each thing he picked up. Alright, I want each of you to pick something and copy it into a scroll. When you're done, take it to our house and dispel yourself. How about you? Shut the hell up and do it yourself. Poof, Naruto threw a scroll at the rude clone's face. Anyone else? Good. Naruto quickly made another clone to replace the last one, and left the library. Flashback. Since then Naruto incorporated everything he learned into his training. This allowed him to discover his strong affinity for wind, and slight affinity for fire. Naruto also started learning some more jutsus, and noticed how much easier it was to execute the ones that he had an affinity for. Naruto already made some headway on the leaf-cutting exercise, but he had hit a plateau and needed some help with that. Strangely enough, the exercises for fire affinity were easier than the ones for wind. Naruto also started wearing the weighted bands once he got them, and also added more running to his set of physical workouts to do in the morning. All this and what he was doing before, is what Naruto's clones have been working on every day while Naruto was training with Jiraiya. The first thing Jiraiya did, was let Naruto sign the Toad summoning contract. After Naruto did that, he was told to try to summon any size toad he could. Unsurprisingly for Jiraiya, Naruto could only summon tadpoles, and quickly worked himself into exhaustion trying to do more. When that happened, most of the times Naruto would be taught tactics and strategies, well, whenever Jiraiya wasn't out doing research. Jiraiya knew that summoning would take a lot out of Naruto, so he didn't want to start any more training until he was finished with that. Shockingly enough to him though, Naruto was able to summon a toad in 3 days, because of his liberal use of shadow clones, something which Jiraiya never ran into before. Alright kid, you did a good job, but at the rate you are going now, you are never going to summon the boss, said the toad sage. Jiraiya was bluffing. He fully believed that by the end of the month, Naruto would have a good shot at being able to finally get it, but he wanted to move on to other stuff. So we are going to try something different. What do you mean, pervy sage? Wondered Naruto. Listen up, have you ever felt that you had 2 kinds of chakra in you? Naruto knew exactly what Jiraiya was talking about. The red chakra that seems to comes out of nowhere. He remembers using it during his fight with Haku, as well as when he faced the snake freak. It made him way stronger, so strong he could stop a giant, felt weird, more thicker, and more powerful than his regular chakra, also more wild. Naruto already had a good idea what it was. You mean the Kyuubi's chakra? Jiraiya looked shocked for a moment, before answering. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, I guess you are smarter than you look. An indignant Naruto was about to complain, but the Sannin kept talking. I know that you have used the power before, but calling upon it consciously is different. If you are able to learn how to do that, you will always have something up your sleeves for when things go left. Yeah, I guess I say ack. Naruto didn't get to finish because Jiraiya suddenly punched him in his gut hard, rendering him unconscious. If he can only bring up the Kyuubi's chakra when under distress or when in extreme danger, the only way for him to learn how to do it actively is for him to remember how it feels, concluded Jiraiya. Forgive me, Minato, for what I am about to do. He then picked up Naruto and started walking away. A while later, Naruto woke up on the floor, rubbing his groggy eyes. What just happened? Groaned Naruto, not noticing the white-haired man standing in front of him. We end your training today. If you don't complete it, you die, Jiraiya said. He then pushed Naruto's forehead with one finger, sending him backwards, down a slope that was covered by plants. Woo! Naruto was rolling through the bushes now, getting many scratches along the way. The slope finally ended, sending Naruto sliding out of the shrubbery. Unfortunately, the ground ended there too, so he fell out of the bushes and into a giant deep chasm. Og! Naruto was disoriented before, so he didn't really process what was happening, but after he started falling, he was wide awake. Aware enough to know what was happening and also who caused it, if his curses towards a certain pervert or any indication. Naruto was about to try catching himself on the walls using his chakra, but then he saw how spiky and wet they were and figured that would be a terrible idea. He would have tried to summon a toad, or even some clones, but he was all juiced out from training. That fucking bastard. If I survive this, I am going to kill that pervert. Damn. Naruto didn't know how he would survive this. After all the close calls Naruto had, he finally gets done in by his teacher. Hell no. I don't care if I am out of energy, I'm not going to die here, proclaimed Naruto. He then bit his finger and did the seals for the summoning jutsu. Naruto started trying to push whatever chakra he had left, closing his eyes from the strain. All of the sudden he didn't feel the wind whipping past his face, or the sensation of falling. Naruto opened his eyes and found himself in a dark, murky sewer. When he looked around, he realized it was more of a flooded building or industrial factory than a sewer. Naruto felt a familiar feeling in his gut pulling him towards the direction of one of the doorways. Naruto followed this feeling through halls and turns, until he came upon a large chamber, that had a giant gate with a seal on the middle of it. So my esteemed warden finally comes to visit me. A deep rumbling voice sounded from behind the gate, pulsing the water out to the direction of Naruto. Naruto knew immediately what it was. Kyuubi. No, it's the other giant being in your stomach, the now identified Kyuubi sarcastically said. Naruto developed a tick mark after that remark, and lost some of the reservations he might have gained from the fact he was facing such a massive beast. Shut the hell up, furball. Why did you bring me here anyway? 'Cause your dumb was about to get us killed, grumbled out the Kyuubi. 1. I wasn't about to do anything, I was thrown off a cliff. 2. What do you mean us? Ooh. Hehehe. I get it now, Naruto said, finally thinking about what the Biju said. If I die, you die, huh? Naruto sat there and pondered for a while, before nodding his head to something he apparently figured out. Well, I guess that means only one thing. The Kyuubi, thinking he knew the depths of all humans, thought that he had Naruto pinned too. Like any other mortal, he would seek to have the Kyuubi under his thumb and use his power for his own purpose. The Kyuubi would rather die than be under someone's control again. Luckily, it turned out that his container was one step ahead of him and got himself thrown off a cliff. The tailed beast only brought him down here to give him a chance to honor his father's words, even if he didn't believe them. But it seems this human is just as he thought. Now that he found out the lack of control the Biju actually has over him, he will seek to put the Kyuubi in submission. We'll be working together from here on out, declared Naruto. What? Thought the Kyuubi, eyes wide. There is no way he heard that right. What did you say, kid? I said that we are partners. I don't want to die, and I am pretty sure you don't want to die. So if our lives depend on protecting my body, it is better for us to work together than to be against each other. Naruto clarified. Plus I would rather have a good relationship with the big fox that's living inside of my body. Grr. That makes no sense. I attacked your village. I am the reason you have no parents. I am the reason everyone despises you. Why would you try to help me? What makes you so sure that I won't just kill you, then go back and destroy your village? Naruto, completely misunderstanding the part about his parents, confidently responded, because I get it. All I have been told all my life is that you're a monster. The same thing was said about me. I know that sometimes the people that are despised the most don't really deserve it. I think it would be better to hold my reservations about you until I see you actually did something wrong. And if it turns out everything everyone said about you is true, and you are just a big, evil fox. Naruto grinned at him. Then I'll find a way to finish what the fourth Hokage started myself. Naruto finished with a determined smirk. The Kyuubi was quiet for a moment, before he started chuckling. I guess you're not as stupid as I thought, though you are still missing a few marbles for even thinking about threatening me. Hey, I never said it would be easy, Naruto said. But I never back down from anything. Yeah, whatever, puffed out Kurama. I'll allow some access to my chakra, so you didn't end up as a bloody smear. Gee, thanks Furball. With that, you have overstayed your welcome, growled out the Kyuubi. Also open up a history book sometime, the fourth Hokage didn't start anything. Huh, Naruto's eyes snapped open, and he found himself once again falling down the chasm. Naruto wasn't scared this time though. He could feel chakra running through him that didn't belong to him, but was his at the same time. He pushed the chakra towards his still outstretched hand, knowing it would be more than enough than what he needed. Summoning Justu. Poof. Huh. What? Where the hell am I? Jiraiya. Naruto was now standing on top of a humongous toad dressed in what seemed to be a Yakuza uniform. Hey, who's that on my head? The toad called out. Naruto ran down to the summon's nose so it could see him. I was Naruto Uzumaki, your new summoner, answered Naruto. The toad laughed. There's no way a shrimp like you could summon me. Ha. Naruto was starting to get pissed off. I was the one who summoned you, you piece of shit toad. The summon stopped laughing, and looked at Naruto for a long time, before seemingly confirming something. Alright then, I guess I could make you my underling. Alright, said Naruto, not really knowing what was happening. Underling. Is that how all summoning contracts work? Now to initiate someone into the family, I would usually see if they can hold their sake good enough to impress me, but since you are probably too young for that, I have to come up with something new. The toad sat there for a moment. How about this? You get on my back, then I try to shake you off. If you can stay on till sunset, then you can join the family. Naruto didn't like the sound of that. The only way he could stay on long enough was for him to use chakra, and therein lies the problem. He couldn't use Kurama's chakra because he couldn't control it. He also couldn't use his, because that was just starting to replenish and was still at a low amount. Naruto was just about to humbly beg for the first test, when the toad suddenly shot out of the chasm. Alright, let's see if you got what it takes, the giant amphibian said. By the way, I am the toad boss summons, Gamabunta, and don't you forget it, runt. And with that he started jumping, and flailing around, trying to shake Naruto off. Naruto was hanging for dear life on the back of Gamabunta, turning greener and greener every passing moment. Naruto didn't think he would be able to survive until the end of this test, much less hang on for the entire time, but he isn't Naruto Uzumaki for nothing. The one thing he never does, is gives up. Boing boing. Naruto never questioned his nindo so hard in his life. I'm never going to forgive that damn pervert. Boing. Naruto woke up hours later to a white ceiling. Groaning, he sat up and looked around, and recognized the place he was currently at as the hospital. Naruto felt a presence next to him and turned to meet a pair of black eyes, staring right back at him. So, you're finally awake, huh? Naruto looked at the rest of the body, while matching voice to a person in his head, and he realized that Shikamaru was in his room. Shikamaru questioned Naruto. Why are you here? I was visiting Choji, when I heard that you were in the hospital too. So I decided to visit you, the Nara responded. Naruto tried to ignore the way his chest warmed up at the thought of Shikamaru coming to see him. Naruto never really thought that he and the other genin were that close. Like Choji, I didn't really think you are the type to have girls visit him. Naruto was about to retort with his own remark, but thought about something he just noticed. Wait, Choji's still in the hospital. I didn't think his injuries were that serious. They weren't. Choji ate too much and ended up landing himself in the hospital again. Shikamaru explained with a sigh. Oh, should have figured. Naruto then noticed a fruit basket, sitting on the edge of his bed. Shikamaru, seeing where Naruto was looking, started talking. I originally brought that for Choji, but the nurse said it wasn't good for him to have anything to eat, so I thought I might as well give it to you. Gee, thanks, deadpanned Naruto, trying to ignore the warm feeling that popped up again. You know what we should do? Eat this in front of Choji's face. Sigh. Let's go, I don't have anything else to do. Naruto got up and got dressed. He then grabbed the fruit basket and headed into the hallway with Shikamaru. On the way to Choji's room, Naruto got a cold feeling near his gut, and it was directing him to another part of the hospital. He darted off to find the source of the chill, with a surprised Shikamaru following behind. Naruto, what's gotten into you? Spoke Shikamaru. I'm not sure, but if you follow me, you'll probably find out. How troublesome, Shikamaru complained, but he still followed. Well, that was intense. Shikamaru said, rolling his neck. Yeah, you're telling me, responded Naruto listlessly. Shikamaru gave him a curious look but thankfully didn't say anything as they were approaching Choji's room. Shikamaru slid open the door, and was immediately verbally attacked by a feisty blonde girl. Where the hell were you? And what took you so long? And don't you know how to knock? Scolded Ino. Well, we ran into a unplanned situation with a foreign ninja, and before that I was visiting Naruto, pacified Shikamaru. Naruto, repeated Ino with confusion. He's in the hospital. What's wrong with him? I just saw him a couple days ago and he looked fine. Shikamaru shaking his head in annoyance. Go ask him yourself, Shikamaru said. Speaking of, Choji. You mind if Naruto comes in? Shikamaru asked Choji, who was munching on some chips Ino gave him on his bed. Munch munch, that's cool, munch munch, I don't mind, Choji affirmed. Alright Naruto, he said you can come in, called Shikamaru. Naruto opened the door and walked in while cleaning his ear with a finger. Damn Ino, I'm sure the whole building could hear you screaming. Naruto then turned to Shikamaru. I feel sorry for you, at least with Sasuke on our team, Sakura pretends that she is nice. No luck for you with Ino. Ino cracked her knuckles with her fist in her palm and smiled sweetly at Naruto. What's that supposed to mean, huh? Naruto wisely took a step back. Oh nothing, he said with his hands up in a placating motion. Are you sure? You look like you still would like a few more days at the hospital. No, I'm perfectly fine, hey Choji. Hope you feel better. See you guys later. Bye. Naruto made a quick escape, not wanting to risk the wrath of the blonde girl. Man, he thought. There have been too many violent people in my life recently, I'm seriously considering a change in careers. Now that Naruto was away from the others, he started to think back to the meeting he had with Gaara. A person, who was just like him, but also completely different. He shuddered at the thought. Not because he was scared, but because of the thought that this was how he could have ended up. Thankfully, Konoha was still a good village to live in overall. He wouldn't have been so lucky in some of the other hidden villages if rumors are to be believed. Naruto was walking down the hallway thinking about Gaara and the Kyuubi, when he was thrown out his thoughts by crashing into a small girl, and accidentally sending her crashing into the ground. Oops, that was my fault. I'm very sorry. Are you okay? Asked Naruto, stretching out his hand to help the girl up. The girl ignored the hand, and got up off the ground by herself. Thanks, but no thanks. I can help myself, she said evenly. Now that the girl was off of the ground, Naruto had a good look at what she looked like. She was a very small petite girl, with long black hair. She had a very familiar face, and big white pupil-less eyes which signified the Hyuga clan. Naruto stared at her for a moment, which quickly agitated her. Why are you staring at me? She demanded. It's just that. You are so adorable, gushed Naruto. You're like a plushy version of a real ninja. Naruto decided to have a little fun with her. Not only did she reject his offer for help, but he never did like uptight people. The Hyuga girl turned a little red from anger, and closed her eyes in an attempt to control her temper. Don't call me adorable or plushy. And I am a real ninja, she growled out. This just made Naruto gush harder. Did you just growl? Ha ha ha, look at you playing shinobi. Where's your parents at, little girl? Are you lost? The girl could feel her grasp on her emotions slipping. She clenched her fist at her side to rein back her oncoming explosion. Do you know who you're talking to? She said with slightly puffed cheeks. You would apologize if you knew what was good for you. I just want to help find your parents. Do they know where you are? Teased Naruto. Here, take my hands, I'll walk you home. Stop treating me like a child, treat me with respect, she demanded, stomping a foot on the ground. She was losing her composure and wouldn't last much longer. I don't even know who you are, little girl. Don't call me that. I am not little, the Hyuga proclaimed. Her voice was steadily raising higher and higher. Yes, you are. But don't worry, all kids are small when they're 7. Naruto said, trying to reassure her. I'm 15. That surprised Naruto. True, he purposefully overshot her age, but he didn't think she was that old. Wow. Okay then, never mind, you're not a little girl then. Naruto agreed. You're a midget. Shut up, shut up, shut up, she yelled out and launched herself at Naruto. A flurry of jabs later, Naruto was now lying on the floor twitching. HMPH. Know your place next time. The girl said, walking away. Man, that girl has an anger problem. Naruto groaned out. Hello. Is there any nurses around? I would like to extend my stay. Hinata Hyuga was having a good day. The doctors just told her she was getting better without any complications, plus her older sister visited her. The only thing that could make this day better would be if. Knock knock. Come in, she called out. The door slid open and Hinata's heart skipped a beat when she saw who it was. Naruto-kun. Hey Hinata, how are you feeling? Naruto asked, sitting down on a chair by the bed. Much better. The doctors even said I should get out before the end of the month. Hinata said, trying to calm her racing heart. That's awesome. Then the next time we meet it can be somewhere other than a hospital. Naruto said distastefully. Next time, Hinata repeated. She wasn't sure what reason Naruto would have to talk with her after she got released. Yeah, I hate hospitals, almost anywhere else is better. Ichiraku's is definitely a better place to hang out at. Naruto said offhandedly. Is Ichiraku's really that good? Questioned Hinata tentatively. I never actually had it, but you make it seem like it's really good. Hinata had ramen before, and while it was good, she has had a lot better. Naruto started gaping at her with his mouth open after she finished her question. He started turning pale and shakily pointed his finger at her. Yun never had Ichiraku's ramen before. He was shocked how anyone could live like she had. No wonder you're so gloomy and dark. Naruto said, missing Hinata slump a little at his words. I need to take you there ASAP. It's on me. I'll gladly cover the cost in this kind of emergency. Hinata turned red. Take me, she squeaked. Yeah, I'll have to find you sometime after you get released, since we can't go today. This is something that has to be fixed as soon as we can. Hinata felt a little woozy, and leaned a little back in her bed. She must have been worse off than she thought, and now she started hallucinating. Naruto, seeing her face start flushing, got concerned for her health. Hey Hinata, you look a little feverish. Are you okay? I'm fine. I probably just need to take a little nap. I should be okay once I wake up. Okay. I should probably leave you to sleep then. I wouldn't want you to miss out on Ichiraku's longer than you would have to. Naruto started to turn towards the door, but suddenly remembered something. Hey Hinata, do you have a little sister? Hinata chuckled, and nodded her head. Yes, but she's actually my older name is Hanabi, and she's 2 years older than me. No way, she's actually 15, Naruto said, shocked. Hinata chuckled again. Yeah, she's normally cool-headed, but when it comes to her size she starts to become sensitive. Naruto started unconsciously rubbing the welts he just got. It took him a while to find a way up from the floor. You're telling me? Why do you ask, Naruto? Well, I just met her in the hallway, and when I first met her, I definitely saw how cool she was, but I found out the other part you mentioned the hard way. Naruto said, wincing. Hinata smiled at him. She's not likely to forget that for some time too. Not too many people would say something like that to her, so she remembers the few that do. Hinata didn't think that was such a bad thing. Usually her sister only expresses herself when they were alone together. The way they were raised and the expectations put on Hanabi as the heir causes her to be stoic most of the time. Anytime she can shed that weight and show her emotions freely, Hinata would be happy. Even if, unfortunately, it's at the expense of Naruto. Sorry Naruto-kun. Huh, why are you apologizing? After a long night's rest, and a morning at Training Ground 9, Naruto arrived at the clearing he and Jiraiya have been using for training. He saw Jiraiya at the center of the field reading a scroll, and made his way to him. Good morning, pervy sage. What are we learning today? What did I say about calling me that brat? Jiraiya scolded, bringing his fist down on Naruto's head. As for your question, well, since you're finished your summoning training, we can start training you for real. What you were doing before was just a warm-up. I have made up a whole schedule of what you will do for your training. I noticed that you took some interest in seals, so I decided to make it one of the things you will learn about. I tell you, you couldn't have picked a better teacher in seals than me, kid. Anyway, the schedule is like this. First is evasive techniques. Then some seal work, third is meditating under a waterfall, number 4 is jutsu theory and application, and the very last thing is a spar between you and me, no hold barrels on Naruto's part. When Naruto heard his upcoming daily schedule, he realized that he would be coming home broken after every training session. He was happy he had clones running around doing things for him, because he would have little time to do anything without them. Naruto had a little over 3 weeks until he had to fight in the Chunin exams, and he was for damn sure going to take advantage of every second he had. Sounds good, pervy sage. What are you waiting for? Let's start the first lesson. Naruto quickly knew regret. Dodge, said Jiraiya, who punched Naruto in his stomach, sending him flying to the other end of the field. Naruto got up and wiped his mouth. He then ducked under one punched, just to get hit by a roundhouse kick, shooting him off again, but this time towards a big rock wall. Naruto smashed into the wall, then dropped. His collision caused pieces of the rock to fall off it, and bury Naruto in stones. So this is the future Hokage of the Leaf Village. Jiraiya proclaimed. Can't say I'm too impressed. Come on Naruto, I wasn't even using 30% of my strength in those punches. GGGRRR. Naruto started to throw rocks up off him, and broke himself through the top of the stone heap. It doesn't matter what you see now, because I am going to become Hokage and I never go back on my words," Naruto declared, crouching down in preparation to dodge the next blow. "I'll just keep on getting hit until I no longer can. Maybe Ichiraku's has some open positions." It has been 3 days since Naruto had started the next part of his training, and 1 week since the preliminary rounds had ended. Naruto had been correct in the assumption that he would be dead on his feet after every day of training. When he came home, he would have just enough strength in him to make and dispel a shadow clone. This was so he can relay his experience to any shadow clones he had around. Through the course of the days, Jiraiya was metaphorically and literally cramming information in his head. Naruto never received any rest, especially since his sensei knew how much endurance he had. The moment he was finished one subject, they would move on to the next. If Naruto never understood a spoken explanation, he learned by being demonstrated on. Naruto had to admit that while the lessons hurt, he was learning faster because of it. The only part of the day that didn't have any practical lessons were seals. Jiraiya told Naruto to work on his handwriting before he can even begin making seals, so at this point the class was only theoretical. Jiraiya also taught under the belief of starting from the foundation and working your way up, so Naruto got to revisit and properly learn many things from the academy that he didn't care enough to remember the first time. Besides his training with Arrow Sennin, Naruto's independent sessions were bearing much fruit. Naruto was already making substantial progress before, but when the training with Jiraiya was added, his progress was multiplied. The clones working with weapons, like shuriken and kunai, continued increasing speed, precision, and accuracy. Naruto discovered from that group that they found a way to apply the shadow clone just U to the shuriken and kunai, where they could just make copies of the weapons. They even found a way to do this after the projectile has already been thrown. Naruto had learned a lot of the jutsus that he copied from the library, only really having trouble with the higher tier ones. Naruto also had assigned clones to learn how to do fire and unwind jutsus with as few seals as possible. Something which Naruto found out was possible from Arrow Sennin's teachings. Naruto chakra control increased day by day, which allowed him to improve all across the board, but medical ninjutsu and genjutsu was still improbable for him. After the first day of his new lessons with his sensei, Naruto decided to add a new group of clones that would only work on his calligraphy for seals. As a result, his handwriting was unrecognizable from his academy days. Naruto was even on the final part of his fire affinity training, which he found surprising considering it wasn't even his main element. The only setbacks he had during training, strangely enough, was in his wind affinity training, which he was supposed to have a strong affinity for. He was still on the first exercise, and he still didn't have a clue on how to complete it. Naruto had done many things with the leaf, even some things that could be passed off as a tear down the middle, but he was never able to get his chakra to cleanly cut through the leaf. Naruto already made up his mind to find help if he didn't get any results in the next few days. The one lesson Naruto learned best from all this was that shadow clones were truly bullshit. He could get hours and hours of experience in anything he wanted, and because they were clones, he didn't have to worry about harming himself. It turns out that Mizuki was even a better teacher than Iruka. Currently, Naruto was trying out a new training routine that he was planning on doing once every week. Naruto was standing in the center of about 100 clones that were standing in a wide circle around him. All the clones were standing in fighting position, ready to launch off their feet in a moment's notice. The original Naruto cracked his neck and rotated his arms before he got in a similar position as his clones. Let's go. One by one each clone started to run towards Naruto and tried to attack him. Naruto would block, parry, counter, or dodge every hit. One clone would come with an overhead flying kick, and Naruto would spin his body in a way where it would miss, and come around with a kick of his own. Another comes from behind Naruto trying to attempt to attack at a blind spot, but before a hit could land Naruto flips over the clone, putting one hand on the clone's back to help the maneuver. Naruto gripped the clone's shirt in the process of the flip and threw the clone at another one who was preparing to do a jutsu, dispelling both of them. The clones switched up and started attacking in twos, making Naruto have to work harder than before. From an outsider's perspective, it was clear that the original was faster than the army of clones by a good amount, despite that Naruto was starting to get glancing blows and cuts. A clone, seeing that Naruto was wearing down, decided to finish it in one blow. The clone quickly made a bird seal. Wind style. Air bullets. 3 balls of pressurized air shot out of the clone's mouth towards his maker. Naruto dispatched the clone he was fighting, and tuned towards the incoming projectiles while going through seals. Earth style. Mud wall. A portion of the ground shot up to intercept the bullets of air, and when they collided, they exploded into rubble and debris, covering the area with rocks and smoke. Naruto did a simple wind just you to clear the smoke, and paused at what he saw next. All of the clones which were left, which was about 20-something, were in the air facing Naruto, flashing through the same just you. Wind style. Drilling air bullets. They cried in unison. Then a countless number of expelled air balls filled the air, and they were all headed for Naruto at a frightening speed. Boom! A large explosion happened in the middle of the field, the resounding noise resonating through the air. The smoke from the combined blast took several moments to clear by itself, all of the clones waiting watching the impact point without lowering their guards. When it was visible enough for them to see, they peered in. Now where once the original stood, there was just a big crater, that looked as if multiple bombs were set off to dig it, and at the very bottom of the hole there was one small man-sized hole, partially hidden by dirt and rocks. What the he? One of the clones said, but before it could finish it was interrupted by a loud voice. Over here, idiots, said a figure that launched in the air from the forest. The airborne ninja made a tiger seal and inhaled widely. Fire style. Great fireball jutsu. Exhale. A massive orb of roaring flames burst out of Naruto's mouth, flying towards where the clones were gathered. Before they could move, the attack hit the clones. Boom! Erupting into a magnificent explosion of fire. Naruto landed in a crouch on the ground, breathing hard from the exertion of his latest activity. He stood up from the ground, brilliant crimson light bathing him, and started to stretch. You got all that? Breathed out Naruto towards the treetops of a few trees. Up in the tree, several clones sitting on branches gave Naruto the thumbs up. Naruto had thought of the idea for the exercise he was currently using after trying to run a couple of his laps with the weights off. He ended up tripping countless times, and crashed into a couple trees. Naruto was then able to figure out that he did successfully gain more speed, it was just that he wasn't used to moving at them. He knew that this would hinder him if he ever decided to take off his weights in a fight, and decided that he needed a way to get used to going fast, and he came up with the 1 against 100 exercise. He would summon 100 clones while he had weights on, then he would take the weights off and fight against all of them. He also had a couple clones observing the entire thing from afar. Naruto planned to do this once a week, so that he would feel comfortable when he got rid of his bands. But Naruto only completed the first part of the exercise. You ready to go again, boss? One of the clones said. Naruto was going to keep sparring until he couldn't move anymore. He was determined to be prepared for all situations. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Poof. 100 clones surrounded Naruto once again. Sai, let's do this. Then Naruto charged. Later that day, Naruto was lying in a heap after one of his and Arrow Sennin's sparring matches, like always. Unlike always, Jiraiya didn't immediately go off searching for the nearest bathhouse, and stayed behind to talk to Naruto for a few moments. Hey Naruto, Jiraiya said to the pile of meat that was once Naruto. I realized today during our sealing lesson that I have never seen you right before, so I don't really have a clue how long it would take until you were ready to do Fuinjutsu. Groaned Naruto. Jiraiya ignored Naruto and kept on talking. So in light of that fact, I decided to finally see now before it slips my mind and I never remember. Moans of pain was the only thing the Toad Sage received in response. Well, here's some paper, said Jiraiya, pulling out paper from his pouch, still ignoring Naruto's condition. And here's something to write with. He also pulled out an inked brush and held both items in front of Naruto's limp body. Naruto didn't do anything for a few moments, but then he took the two objects and started to do something on the paper. After he was done, he threw them both on the ground. Jiraiya walked over to the sheet and picked it up. He looked at what was on the paper with scrutiny. While you need to work on your artwork, your strokes and brushes are near flawless, complimented Jiraiya. On the paper was a drawing of a deformed Jiraiya with horns sticking from his actual head, instead of his forehead protector. Underneath the drawing were the kanji for Akuma. Anyone who saw the picture would have to admit that while the drawing was crude, it was still elegantly done. It's practically unheard of for someone to have this good of handwriting starting off, huh? You really are full of surprises, Jiraiya said, chuckling. Tomorrow come with some sealing supplies. You are going to need them for your fuinjutsu lesson. With that, Jiraiya stalked away, presumably out to find some more research. Naruto was still in the same position he was in 10 minutes ago, a bloody lump. Ooh. The next morning Naruto was walking into Higarashi's weapon shop, on his way to the training ground he trained with Jiraiya at. Ring. Hello, Mr. Higurashi, Naruto called out. He noticed that the store was empty. I'll be out in just a minute, shouted the owner in response from the back. True to his word, only a moment later did Ishii emerge from the back door. He was wearing gloves, had on goggles, and was greasy, so Naruto assumed he was doing some work. Oh Naruto, you're back already. Did you already need your things replaced, or are you here for a different reason? I'm actually here to get something new, Naruto responded. How many blank sealing scrolls and papers do you have? A lot of them. We order them in bulk but not too many ninja buy them. I was considering reducing the amount we order. Naruto shook his head and pulled out Gama-chan. No need to do that. I want to buy every one you have, he said, pulling out the required amount. While this solves the problem of my current stock of sealing materials, what you just ordered should last you a while, and there would be no need for you to come back and but more when I restock. Trust me, Naruto replied. I will go through everything quick. Quote. Okay, I also need all the brushes and ink you have as well. Whatever, it's your money. Ishii went and gathered everything asked for, and rung it up. When Naruto saw the price on the cash register, he almost started crying on the spot. He was thankful that he learned to save every cent that he could at a young age. At least it's for a good cause, whimpered Naruto in his head. Sigh, here you go. Now that I think about it, I am probably going to need a storage scroll for all this. Once they was finished with the dilemma of sealing everything, they was finally set to go. Pleasure doing business with you, kid, Ishii said. Matter fact, I have a couple propositions for you if you are willing to hear them, and they all involve making a little cash. Naruto, who had just witnessed the death of his wallet, was eager to hear about anything that could his funds. Sure, I'm up to hear whatever you got to say. Since you're doing sealing, if you bring in some explosive tags and storage scrolls, I will pay you for them. I can never have too many of those, especially since they are one of the products most in demand. Naruto knew that with the lessons he was currently receiving, coupled with all of his clones, he could probably make a pretty penny with this job alone. That sounds fine. What about the other one? I have a usual delivery girl that goes and picks up and drops off things for me from time to time. The problem is that she is a ninja and she can't always be there, so I usually have to request a mission for some genin to do. I am willing to make you my permanent backup and you will be the only one who gets the mission pay. I like to have familiar faces handling my stuff, and I feel like you are going to be a regular in my store. Naruto thought this would also be a good way to make money, especially since he could just make clone do these jobs whenever he wanted. Alright, I'm game for both of them. Good. Just come in at any time for the tags and scrolls. I think I might have a delivery for you in a few days too, so come by and check. Ishii said. Anything else you need? Yeah, kind of. If you don't mind me asking, Naruto questioned. What were you doing before I came in? Huh, oh that. I was just sharpening up my swords. Sharpening. Mused Naruto. How exactly were you doing that? I use a sharpening stone, which I use to grind against the sword. This sharpens and hones the blade the more I grind. Is there a reason for these questions? Naruto ignored him and just sat there thinking for a few moments. Naruto decided something and made the seal for a shadow clone. Naruto did this silently, because he was trying to get into the habit of not verbalizing his attacks, well, unless, of course, he wanted to be dramatic. Poof! A clone appeared in the middle of the shop, but before the smoke even had a chance to dissipate, Naruto punched the copy in the jaw, causing it to dispel. Ishii, the shop owner, just stood there confused while all this played out. If that will be all, I will just leave you to it. Ishii went back to sharpening his swords. Naruto was too busy getting over the fact that he might finally make some progress in wind manipulation to notice what Ishii did. Naruto finally arrived at the place where he trained with Jiraiya, after a quick stop to the training grounds to drop off most of his sealing materials. When he looked around to find Jiraiya, he was confused because he spotted him behind what looked like a fortified wall made out of mud and rocks. Hey Arrow Sennin, what is that for? Naruto asked, pointing at the wall structure. Don't call me that idiot, snapped Jiraiya, with his veins poking out. And as for this, well, let's just call it a useful piece of scenery which I will be using as a resting post for the remainder of the day. Whatever. Waved off Naruto, not feeling like putting up with his sensei's antics today. So how come you didn't immediately try to hit me when I arrived? I thought evasive movements was first. Today Gaki we will only be working on Fuinjutsu, explained Jiraiya. You have quickly grasped concepts of sealing in a short amount of time, so now it is time to get your practical knowledge up to where you are theoretically. Yes. Today I won't be going home in pain, I will just be sitting, and drawing. Maybe a few explosions, but none of them will be with me in them. I am ready to start, Jiraiya-sensei. Haha, now that's more like it. Cheered Jiraiya. Let's see how enthusiastic you will be at the end of the day, the sage said, mostly to himself. Naruto was crying and thanking the heavens at the moment, and didn't even know his sensei opened his mouth. A burnt and crispy Naruto is what showed up at Training Ground 9 that evening. Naruto also was burning mad. The clones weren't sure whether the smoke rising from his head was the result of his anger or whatever got him the way he looked. Stupid pervert. Resting post Mai, he was using it as a shield. Grumbled out Naruto. No one told him how dangerous messing up a seal was, and even though he should have known that by himself, he wasn't expecting it to be so precise. Naruto blew himself up no less than 24 times, and he wasn't even working on explosive tags when those happened. When he did try explosive tags, it looked like the entire Uchiha clan came back to life and decided to use that field as practice. A good thing is that he got used to Fuinjutsu enough, where he won't be making as many mistakes as he did today again. Another upside is that, while he was more burnt than he has ever been in his life, he could still move and function unlike all the other training days. The fact that he could still move, and his chakra was full bothered Naruto, so he decided to come to the training ground to work himself to proper exhaustion. Hey boss, come over here, one clone yelled from the other side of the field. Naruto went over to him to see what he was called over for. Check this out, the clone said, holding out a leaf in his hands. Then right before Naruto's eyes the leaf split cleanly into two, as if sliced by the finest blade. Finally, yes, I completed the first stage. Telephone me, did any clones start on the second part? Yeah, There is a whole squad of clones down by the waterfall trying to split it in half. We already accomplished it a couple times, but we are trying to achieve it with less and less numbers until only one is needed to split the whole waterfall. This is great news. I'm guessing that since I didn't know about this previously that, none of the clones working on this dispelled. The clone sheepishly laughed, and rubbed the back of his head. Oh yeah, I knew we were forgetting to do something. It's alright, just dispel now, I am sure the knowledge of this will help other groups a lot. Yosh. Man, how come more clones can't be like you? The clone didn't answer, it just smiled and dispelled itself into smoke. Boom. Well, that was what was supposed to happen, but instead of a cloud of smoke, it was an explosion of flames. Naruto barely jumped away, avoiding being burnt once again for the 100th time today. Naruto landed a few meters back, and looked around to see all the clones laughing at him. Shortly after he received the memories from the clones. It seems one group discovered how to make clones explode, and all the clones decided that it would be something funny to demonstrate on Naruto when they saw him come in already burnt. Thankfully everything else that came out of the scheming clone's mouth was true. Naruto was tempted to massacre all the clones he had, if they weren't working to improve for his betterment. I swear, where the hell did they get this from? There is only a week and a half left until the third round of the Chunin exams, and Naruto's training was very productive. Pervy Sage told him that they far exceeded what he expected to go over in just 1 month. Naruto was also coming up with more and more stuff to learn on his own too. He stopped going to Higarashi's to buy weights because he figured out how to mimic them with seals, and could now increase and decrease the amount of weight the seal was by application of his chakra. He mastered both exercises for fire and wind manipulation and was working on increasing his proficiency with all corresponding jutsus. When it came to sealing, Jiraiya told him that he was picking it up faster than his last student, and considering his last student was the 4th Hokage, Naruto decided to take that as a compliment. On a side note, Naruto was finally able to function normally after training with Jiraiya. He would only be sore for the rest of the day, and didn't have to immediately pass out. Naruto did come back to Higurashi a few days after he bought his sealing supplies, and he already completed a few deliveries. He has also been delivering explosive tags and sealing scrolls twice every week. Naruto figures that once he was back to doing active missions, he would never be short on money. Naruto visited Hinata a couple more times too, and even ran into Hanabi again. Those meetings went exactly as the last ones, ending with both Hyuga's faces red, although for different reasons. He also was learning when to make a strategic exit when someone was gunning for your head. Currently Naruto was warming up in front of Jiraiya, getting ready for their first lesson. It took him a few minutes of nothing happening to realize that his sensei wasn't going to attack him anytime soon. Jiraiya beckoned him over with his hand, and gestured for him to sit down. Alright Naruto, today I am going to teach you another jutsu. Naruto started jumping up and down in place, and was about to verbalize his excitement. Jiraiya cut him off before he could get too far in his celebration. But this one will be a little different, kid. Naruto sat back down, and stared at his sensei attentively. What do you mean, pervy sage? Jiraiya was agitated, but decided to ignore the disrespect at the moment. I mean that this jutsu was made by the 4th Hokage himself, who taught it to me, and I in turn will teach it to you. Naruto was looking starry-eyed at his teacher now. What is it? Jiraiya put out his hand out and a spinning mass of chakra formed spherically in his palm, the Rasengan. Naruto was mesmerized by the jutsu, and couldn't wait to learn it. Jiraiya reached into a previously unnoticed bag and pulled out 2 water balloons. He tossed one to Naruto and put the other in his right hand. First step is popping this balloon by spinning the water inside. Pop, now you're not going to get it in your first try, be you? Pop, huh? Jiraiya looked over at Naruto and saw him with one wet hand and no balloon. You're right, it took me 2 tries. Jiraiya didn't know what to say, so he just stood there stammering. I mean, after it didn't work the first time, I just increased the rotations and bam. Yeah, whatever. Beginner's luck. Jiraiya pulled out a rubber ball and threw it at Naruto. Try to pop that with just your pop. Come on. Really? Naruto deadpanned. If there is one thing my chakra has in spades is density and power. Yeah, whatever. The last step is combining both steps and then stabilizing it. Naruto tried the last step, but unlike the other ones, he failed miserably. He tried a few more times and didn't get any closer to making anything resembling what his teacher had shown him earlier. Harder than you thought it would be, huh? Jiraiya told him. The other two are really just to help with understanding the concept. This step is where you are going to need more than just natural ability and luck. Now try that later on your own time, we can start your regular training now. Naruto had just finished shopping for all the food he needed for his house. He also made a second trip to the library to see if he could glean any more useful information. Now all he had left to do was one more thing before he was done. Naruto discovered while he was training that it was easy for him to get a lot of cuts and scrapes. Naruto decided that the perfect thing for him to get to avoid all that was a mesh undershirt. An idea he got after seeing Jiraiya's one day when they was sparring. Naruto walked into Higarashi's weapon shop, making the bell ring when he opened the door. Hello. How may I help you today? Said a familiar girl at the front counter. Hey, wait. I know you. You're the guy that's going to be facing Neji in the finals. Yeah, that's me. I'm Naruto, and if I remember correctly, you're one of his and Brushy Brow's teammates, said Naruto. Brushy Brows, she repeated while chuckling. Yeah, that's me. The name's Tenten. I don't think I have seen you here before. Is this your first visit? Nope. I've had more than a few visits here already. Now it's my turn to ask a question. Why are you? Naruto stopped. He remembered Ishii telling him how he had a daughter on a genin team that worked for him sometimes, and now that Naruto thought about Tenten had way too many weapons for any normal person to reasonably have. Never mind. I answered it myself. Okay. So what were you looking for? A mesh shirts that I could wear under my clothes. I also came to see if your dad had any more deliveries, but I can see that as a moot point. Deliveries? She questioned. Oh, my dad did say he found someone to take some of my load so I can train more. I guess you were the one he was talking about. Thanks for that. Tenten went and got out of a box a stack of mesh shirts that looked around Naruto's size. I think I got some that can fit you, but I'm not 100% sure. That's okay, said Naruto, before he started to remove his shirt. Whoa, what are you doing? Said Tenten, her face gaining a pink hue. It's not that she hasn't seen any guy shirtless before. She was just surprised at how suddenly Naruto started stripping. Well, I wasn't going to buy them and wait until I get home to find out I can't fit them. So I'm try it on now. Don't worry, I will still pay for the one I wear. That's not the problem here. Tenten was more shocked than anything. People normally had more reserve than this in public. Naruto finally got his shirt off, and Tenten's jaw dropped when she saw his upper body. She would have never guessed that the boy wearing a bright orange jumpsuit would have such defined abs, and a strong chest underneath it. Naruto put on the mesh clothing, and it didn't help to hide his body. The shirt barely fit and was tight around his lean muscular frame. Tenten had to admit that the buy made for good eye candy. Well, look at that. It fits perfect. One would think that it being so tight would make it uncomfortable, but it feels completely fine. Thanks, Tenten. I'll take the rest of the shirts. Tenten shook her head, and continued to do her job. This isn't fair. I get 2 green weirdos, and a uptight jerk, while the useless Pinky has 3 cute guys all on one team. Man, some people get all the luck. Naruto put his regular shirt back on and paid for his purchases. Thanks for the help, Tenten. No problem. It was a slow day and I was getting bored. Come around anytime you want. It was a new day, and Naruto was headed back to the hospital. Jiraiya came to his apartment that morning and told him he had 2 days to rest before the finals. Naruto was thankful he was finally getting a break. He always felt sore after their training, and that meant a lot considering he had advanced healing. Naruto made his way inside the building and quickly walked to Hinata's room. When he arrived, he heard some talking from behind the door, and wondered who else was visiting Hinata. Strangely enough, he hasn't ran into anybody else all the other times he had been here. Knock knock. Come in. Naruto walked in and saw Hinata sitting on her bed back in her normal attire. Naruto noticed that there was someone else in the room glaring at him, and decided to ignore them. Hey Hinata, I see that you are finally getting out. You remember our plans to go to Ichiraku's? Hinata blushed a little from embarrassment. Why yeah, I remember. She glanced at the other person in the room for a second. So let's go. Right now is the perfect time to go because this is when less people usually come. Sorry I can't go. My father requested that I come straight home. Oh well, that sucks. This is something that shouldn't be put off. Naruto said disappointingly. Then he turned to the other occupant of the room who had been glaring at him icily the whole time. Naruto just looked at them with a blank look on his face, which just made the person glare harder. The room became quiet. Quote. 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 Hinata didn't say anything because she wasn't sure how to settle the atmosphere. The other two just kept looking at each other. It seemed as if the silence would last forever, before Naruto suddenly broke it. Hinata, I think your baby sister might have gotten a few inches taller since I last saw her. Naruto said. Hanabi's face immediately twisted into a deathly glare. They grow so fast, don't they? You're just begging to die, aren't you? Hanabi growled out. I suggest you leave before I have to traumatize my littler sister. Huh? Little sister? Asked Naruto, looking around in exaggeration. Whereat, like a replay of other times, Hanabi jumped at Naruto with plans to have him in pain, and on the she could get to him though, Hinata jumped in the way. Sister, wait, get out of the way Hinata, seethed Hanabi. He practically begged for it after he so boldly flirted with you in front of my face. Whoa, hold up, Fleer, shut up, no one is speaking to you oaf. Sister, you can't hurt him. He has a match in the Chunin exams in a couple days. Maybe that's something he should have thought of before he disrespected me, as well as you. She turned her eyes to Naruto. Now, he'll be lucky to arrive in hers. Wait, his first match is against Neji. This was finally what got the smaller girl to stand down. Against Neji? Hanabi asked. Is that true? She asked Naruto. Yeah, and I'm going to beat him black and blue until he crawls back to Hinata and apologizes. Naruto answered. Hanabi just stared at Naruto for a few moments before turning around and leaving. Come on Hinata, father is expecting us. Bye Naruto. Hinata said while she made her way to the door. I hope we can get ramen another day. Naruto watched the two sisters leave with an unreadable expression on his face. It was only after a few seconds did he finally release a huge breath he had been holding. Man, I seriously thought I was going to die, he whined. What am I retarded? It was officially the day of the finals and Naruto was happier than anyone else that it was here. The combined weight of the anticipation and the boredom was killing him, and he was sure he was going to start picking fights if he had to wait any longer. The night before he triple-checked all his gear and ran through what he knew in his head over and over again. He almost couldn't fall asleep because of his impatience, but the day was finally here. He worked long and hard this past month. He completed training for both of his affinities. Mastered countless techniques. Exhausted himself every day. All of that for this moment. Well, kind of. He was doing it to increase his skills to do better in the field, but since he was officially on a month break for the finals, primarily it was for the finals. Naruto woke up 2 hours before he had to be at the stadium, and started getting ready for the day. He put his clothes on, attached his ninja equipment, and did a few stretches. Naruto ditched his old clothes for some new threads. Something that looked better, which wasn't that hard to do. Felt better, and lasted better. Naruto was finally ready to go, and he had an hour and 45 minutes left. Wanting to psych himself down so he could be in a calm mind, he went to the middle of his floor and started meditating.